Hey guys, what's up, family? Welcome to the Clarity Lounge, where we speak to all things life, godliness, and anything in between. And you're sure to have some comedy and different things. But we're so glad that you've taken the time to join in with us, and we got some exciting things happening tonight. Going to be uh, diving into our new topic in talk. So we hope that you go ahead and grab your beverage, invite a friend. Go ahead and they probably should let somebody know that we're on. Go ahead and share it. Y'all, we want to thank you all for the response. We've been getting a great response
Thank
from
you.
people,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
joining in, and even after. I tell you, it's just really been good for us, and we want to keep the momentum going. But we need your help. This is what y'all got to do. This is what they call it, a public service announcement. In that, yeah,
Yeah,
a
that's
service
what you call
announcement.
it. Service
You have to help us out by subscribing to the channel, liking,
liking.
and clicking on the bell icon to let you know when we're dropping information. I know you
Aren't you
probably heard
supposed to
that.
do like the little finger? Then
Yeah,
on
all
the
that stuff.
on
I'm
the
just asking.
screen,
Yeah, I'm
on the
asking.
screen is supposed to be the
Yeah, maybe I'll
effect
do
of a
the
bell. Like
when I do the
ding.
editing, we'll put that in there or
So do
something.
ding. Do
Yeah,
your finger.
yeah, the
Ding.
thing, and tap that
Ding. You
bell.
gotta say ding.
So okay, you do the thing, and so you'll know when we're dropping new content.
So
But help
how
us
do you
out.
say it? Like,
Share, and like, subscribe, and share.
Like,
Like, subscribe, and share.
that sounds like a tongue twister.
Yeah, it is. But
Okay.
Look, that's what we need you to do. We need you
There
to
you
help
go.
us out. So if you're buying in and you're enjoying what we're doing, we really would like for you to do that. So look, this week our topic is on the power of
Community.
and I think it's a good spinoff
In your journey was what
In
we
your-
put, but
in your
overall,
journey.
just the power of community.
Just talking about community, and there's a need to to have people in your corner, if you will. You and I'm a big advocate for community. I try to really foster that and push that in environments where people are, because you never know when people going through things when you need somebody to be there for you and with you.
I'm smiling because you know what I'm about to say.
What's that?
What you always say. I don't like people.
Oh, right. But even if
but you are set free, healed, and
yeah.
delivered.
Even if you don't like people, you still have a community, even if it's a small circle.
It is.
Sometimes and that's trendy now because people are like, oh, my circle's small, but you still need those people.
So can community is this the same thought of saying, have your tribe or your circle?
Right, tribe, circle, all those things.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Not that ride or die. Well, I guess you can say that the ride or die, however they say that. I don't know how they say that, but they say that ride or die stuff. But you've got to have some. It's healthy. It's healthy. It's healthy to have somebody. And if you didn't catch the details last week, go back and watch the video, because we talked about some things that are some health challenges and just challenges, period, that people might go through. Yeah. That it helps it a little better. Might not speed up the process, but it helps a little better if you got somebody to talk to. I was thinking about that movie. What was it? Where the guy he had the soccer ball.
Yes, it was.
I forget if y'all remember.
Soccer ball was called Wilson.
Wilson, yeah. Drop it in the comments if y'all remember the movie. Castaway.
Castaway. But what's our dude? Forrest Gump. Well, come on, the Emmy winner. I mean,
what's
this
the guy
man.
name?
Oh Lord, this is terrible.
Hank, isn't it Hank? Something?
Oh yeah.
No.
Wait, what?
Hank? I don't know his name.
No, ooh, that is terrible. But that shows
you because his first movie was Philadelphia, y'all. Y'all remember? If y'all know it, drop it in the comments. Help us out. What is that guy's name? I'm gonna have to search it up now.
Oh my God, that is crazy.
It's not Hank.
I'm totally blank. I see his face, but I'm like, I don't know why I can't think.
Well, anyway, while I'm searching that, but he had the ball.
Yeah, he was Castaway.
I think it was Castaway, and he had the ball, and he was so deprived from community that he had to create a character.
Right.
He had to create a character, and it's so. Hold on, I'm finding it in a minute. Tom Hanks.
Of course.
Tom Hanks. That's it. Tom Hanks.
Yay.
And some of you somebody probably dropped it in there, but it's Tom Hanks from
Tom
Castaway.
Hanks. Yeah.
And if you remember that scene in there, he wanted community so bad that, he had to create something because he was on the island by himself. And it's funny because we're created that way.
Yep.
Genesis talks about how God would meet with Adam and Eve in the cool of the day, and they would commune and have community. So you find out that that's a very essential component in one's life to have that community. We have to have that community because it helps strengthen those bonds, and create a health place for us to go and vent to. And you ever ask yourself, like, what would your world be if you weren't surrounded by your family or your spouse, or you were just kind of by yourself? And I know we have some people that, well, I'm an introvert, but even introverted people have their own little social circle of people that they call their community, right? They still have people that they kind of it might not be, a lot. Like, I don't have a big circle, but Val is a part of my community. My kids, that's my community, and we feed off one another and help us get through, different things. And that's what it's all about.
Said that, because sometimes when you hear the word community, it just sounds like it's supposed to be a lot of people.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so for those, and there are people that love and enjoy being around a lot of folks, and then there's some folks that they just need just a few good men, right?
Right. Yeah.
And men, women ish.
Yeah, we understand. Like those people to help you get through.
But community is just that sense of fellowship, right? That feeling of fellowship that you have someone you can lean on.
Right. And it's funny though, because you'll hear people like, well, I don't need nobody. But even in those statements, you still need somebody that you can kind of talk to. So it even
because I don't know that anybody wants to do this thing called life alone.
Yeah.
Not intentionally alone.
Yeah. But you get
even though you've been hurt,
that.
but then that's probably diving into another topic around why do we really say that?
Right. And that's
because most of us don't. And then when we were tested through the COVID era,
yeah,
a lot of us who thought we were loners or didn't like to be bothered
was spazzing out.
Yeah, realized that.
Yeah.
I wasn't really cut out to just be living this life solo.
Yeah. But even like you said, when people say that, if you some folk were sick of their family.
Well,
some people were sick of their community when we were in the the whole lockdown thing. So I mean, it's a variation of having community, but having, and that's
I
really
think it's
good.
A balance.
It's
a balance.
Having those good components in there,
yeah,
that are going to enable you whatever it is that you're in need of.
Because I don't mind community, but it's interesting as I've gotten older, I'm less tolerant of a lot of people.
Yeah.
And at one time, like I get really like, it's overwhelming. What's the word you use? Overly stimulated.
Overstimulated.
Yeah, in crowds, it's a lot of people. And it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that a bad thing. I know, but I'm not saying I want to be solo. Like I don't want to communicate with anybody or have any, community or circle,
right,
or tribe, if you will.
Well, I was thinking about this, and we were talking about this before, and I think it's good to add in this conversation how you create a compatible community.
Yeah,
I think that's important because you might need it, but then finding, and I think that's something that everybody can kind of talk about, like finding those people that are your type and kind. You know what I'm saying? Like, like you have people that there's different levels to what we call community. You have your inner circle. Think about your real community. Sometimes you're real close to your neighbor.
Okay.
That's down the side of you, but then the one down the street, you might speak to them, but you don't really engage into those intimate places. So a lot of times we have to really find out what our value systems are.
Yeah.
And I think that's really big when we're establishing community. You're going to have to find out your value system. And what I find about that, a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people, when you ask them, what are your values? What are your values? What do you stand for? You will find very few people that can just ramble off what their values. Number one, in just an average world, we never really talk about that. But I know y'all go over there because in your line of work, they really teach on that. But if you ask people, and I think a lot of time we don't understand that to have a strong or tight fit community, you have to have some of the same value systems or understand how to operate with people that
Right.
have different values than yours.
Yeah.
And I think that's big.
Yeah, but you bring up a good, because when I think, we always start thinking illustration, right? And when I think of like communities, right, there's rules.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So but it's because we all got to be sing. It's a commonality amongst a group of folks. And if you can't fit within this community, then typically that doesn't serve you well. Most people don't want to live within that community because all of them, you have to have your grass cut a certain way. You got to have, certain colors you can and can't use within that community. So when you think about the commonality, even amongst people, that's what draws and keeps us there within. And it changes too, right?
Yeah.
What you may have felt some years ago about what you needed in terms of community could be very different than what you're experiencing as you journey through life. And that's the topic around the power of community in your journey. So what is it that you're needing in this time?
So is it safe to say, and I mean, because you were jumping there, like community could be defined for this topic as the level of relatability?
Okay.
The level of relatability, because like you said, that was a great illustration. When you talk about a subdivision or a community or something like that, you got to have certain colors of houses, all that. So in order for us to live harmonious in that community, we have to adopt certain habits. And if we're not able to adopt certain habits, like you said, you either find another place that's more suitable to you, or you live there and just are angry and disgruntled. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of time we find in life. So, and like you stated, the importance or the power of that community in whatever it is your journey is, how important is that community? Have you defined that community? And how has it enabled you to get through ups, downs, ins and out that you might have had in life? Drop in the comments real quick if you all have some type of characteristics of what I don't want to say family community, but what a safe community or a safe place would be for you. Drop a characteristic in there, like if like loyalty or, drop those value systems or what is important to you in that community. Because I think a lot of times we can't really portray that if we don't understand those components of ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
I think what you're saying too is people got to understand the value of having community, and the importance of it in one's life. Because I understand a lot of times when I've heard, and I've been there myself, where I'm like, nah, I don't do a lot of people. I just ride solo. I'm just, but it's like, is that really what you want to continue to live in life, and journey through life just by yourself? I don't think it's always an intentional thing. I often want to challenge the person to begin to think about, why do you feel that that's where you are? And what is there some level of hurt, trauma, experience that has brought us to a place where we want to stay isolated or separated from the group and don't want to engage in and with a community of people? Again, it doesn't have to be a lot, but you got to trust somebody, right? And you got to have someone that's going to journey through life with you. At some point in level. I mean, we know ultimately we got God and all of that, but God also put us here to
somebody
fellowship.
Tangible that you can talk to.
He put us here to fellowship, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there are great benefits to being able to have, a circle, tribe, community.
And I think it's one of those things that the narrative is, when we're good, when we're okay, we don't really, what I'm saying? Like, we don't really need that community, or we could say that. But when something hits, and that's what we're talking about, through your journey, the power of community through your journey. Like, when you're going through something like you're sick or something, you can say, "Oh, well, I didn't want to be by myself." You need somebody to if nothing but bring you some juice or something. So the power in that community help you better, if you say, like, work through that journey that you're in right now. And I think
even not in sick, but I hear you. Yes, typically in the bad, but also in the good, because when you have things to celebrate, acknowledgments, and things that, I mean, blessings in your life, things
Right.
that you want to share with somebody. If you have nobody there, who do you talk to?
Right. What kind of birthday party would you have if nobody?
Well, there you go. That's what I'm saying. And that's
that would be boring.
And I
you know?
challenge a person that says they don't need any of that. I'm like, you, and even in a community, it could be 1 or 2 people, but you need to have somebody, because right.
And I think people they draw to that because, again, I think, and I hate to keep going here, but that's what it is. It's like some level of trauma have cut them off from that place of really engaging in healthy relationship, which is community. Because a lot of people, like you say, we talk to people all the time and say, well, I'm just like this. And you just say, I always challenge that when people say that, you're just like that. Okay. To me, when a baby is born into the world, he has a clean slate.
Right.
A baby does not like, you're gonna be stingy, you know. A baby's not, okay, you little baby, you're gonna be mean. And no, it doesn't happen that way. And some people probably disagree, but those impressions on one's life is normally or regularly done through some type of trauma or some type of exposure.
Yeah.
And what it does, it gives you a warped sense of what community is.
There you go. Yeah.
And I think about it even in the animal kingdom. When you look at a lot of animal kingdom, they have community. Like, and I love animal kingdom. One of the most interesting ones to me is an elephant. And it is said that an elephant, when they have a calf, which is a baby elephant, all of the women in that little tribe of elephants, I don't know what they call them, elephant community, whatever they call them, they help watch out for that little baby. Yeah. So it's like protection in community. You know what I'm saying? There's confidence in community. There's conglomeration. You working together in community. It's all these things you find in community, which is why it's so hard for me when we find people that isolate themselves on purpose.
Right.
They isolate themselves on purpose
because there's some level of hurt that has to been dealt with. Typically, honestly, because if you've had good experience with being around people, you don't just stop being around people.
Right. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Typically, there's something that at some point didn't go well, and then others have to pay for it. You understand? And so, how do I know? Because I personally have been there. I've shared this a lot of times with us, and I'm like, I don't certain circles of women, because I felt, women. I got a lot of hurt and past experience from women. Or just how we don't accept each other, the talking, the bittering, the bickering, the this, the that. And it's just like, oh, that is a lot of energy unnecessarily. And I'm like, I don't desire that.
Right, exactly.
And so, and for a while I would refrain from being in certain circles and we forfeit some great relationships because of it. That's the other thing. And so I had to start really assessing and asking myself, well, why is that? And if I was honest and true with myself, I realized it's because of what I've experienced that didn't feel so comfortable. And so I chose not to be in certain circles of communities. And so I just would, I had my 1 or 2 people that I connected with, and that's about it.
That was your community.
But realizing I knew that wasn't God's intent for me.
Right.
When he, at so many levels,
healthy.
It's not healthy. And so I was like, so then over the course of some time, I had to be healed from that and really identify, get healed from it. And then, allow myself to be okay to get there. And it doesn't, we can get into this whole, you can't trust, you got to be careful and blah, blah, blah. I get that. Use wisdom, however you need to use it. But we're talking about truly having people that you can lean and depend on and trust, even especially when you're going through things.
And that's when development
when life is happening, when you want to be celebrated, when you want to share some good news. I'm like, there should be somebody that you ought to be able to trust to call. And it doesn't have to be somebody you speak to and hang out with every day, because we have some amazing connections of friendships and circles that we don't talk to them every day. In fact, they're not even all in the state of Florida that we're in. Those are the best ones.
I just thought about this, and it's not in our talking notes, but I think it's good. Just came.
Yeah, what's that?
We're talking about the power of community in your journey. We've kind of discussed like what that looks like not rejecting those that want to embrace you in the community. But how about, and this is a big one, y'all, how about how to be a part of a community?
Oh, yeah.
Because if you're not the person that's lead the community, why are you always trying to lead the community? And that could cause combustion, you know. So it's like we need to learn how to be a part of community. That there's a time to step up, there's a time to support from the side. And I guess that's what I want to call our support bands. You know, you have bands of support systems that help you through those times, but we need to understand, and that's what, so I don't know why I'm on animals tonight, but the story of the geese, I think it is, when they fly south, they understand their ranking in bands, and they do the V formation, and they know that you know, this goose, singular, right? Geese is.
You know what we talked about words last week. Now I'm
Geese,
not
goose,
gonna mix up goose.
Geese. The geese is
geese is plural. I think goose is.
Yeah, the goose is one. That's singular. Okay.
Yeah.
One.
We get it.
When the
Whoever
one
got
goose,
the front, when the one
goose
at the
fly
front
in the front, the other ones know to stay in their placement in ranking. You don't have. You have never seen in the air. It's a beautiful formation too. When you see, I just saw it the other day. But have you ever dropped this in the comment? If you know, driving your car and you see them in their formation and one back here arguing at the other one because why are you going that way? Why are you turning that way? So they understand their ranking in place within the community, because that could either strengthen, or it could either prohibit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we have to understand our placement in community to help create that warm, harmonious environment. And the Bible talks about that. It talks about serving with the spirit of unity in the bond of peace. You know, and that's what we should endeavor to do. That's what it tells that we endeavor to do. And that's the strength that comes from community. I want to ask you this.
Okay. No, but before you go there, but that what makes me think of it too is just when we talk community, talk about relationships, essentially. And then just knowing your position within that relationship. And I think about you and I, even in our relationship, our marriage, but there are times throughout our, you know, just whether we're talking or just, you know, working on a project or anything, but we always ask each other around our position. In other words, am I Valerie, the administrator right now?
Yeah.
You know, are you Andre, the mentor, the counselor?
Defining the roles.
So defining the role sometimes. So sometimes just knowing what you need to be, because sometimes throughout a relationship in a community, the person is not always looking for you to be the one that's always the teacher, but sometimes more of I need a listening ear.
Right.
So when you say understanding what your role is throughout it, that's what comes to mind. And I think that's also important, not to frustrate
the whole community.
Stay in your lane.
You're trying to do all, and that's not what we're asking you to do.
Right.
And exactly. So your band of support is wonky.
So then we get frustrated. See, that's why I can't connect with them. That's why I don't need to be a part. And that's why I don't want to be associated to this church when the scripture, I think we're leaning into the scripture around not forsaking the assembly of the saints. When God put us here to make sure that we are in communing
together.
That we're communing together and fellowshipping. And so that's essentially where we're going. But you're going to ask a question. What was the question?
And those are components of harmony.
Yeah.
And that's what you want it to be. It's beautiful. And the Bible tells us that, you know, it's beautiful for brethren to dwell together. So it's a strength in that. You can't say, I have a good friend of mine I remember every now and then he would call me up and chat with me. Like, man, let's go out to lunch. And he would always joke with me like, man, you can't live out on the island by yourself. Because like I would always say my circle was very small. But he would pull me out of that comfort zone and it felt good, y'all. Even though I wouldn't let on to it, he and I would go to Kiki's and we would eat breakfast. We would do breakfast. And we would just sit and do those things. And it was, the conversation was rich. Iron sharpened iron. We had a really good time. So I enjoyed the community.
Right.
And it strengthened.
So before you go back to my question that you said you're going to ask me, why do you feel you lean on the thought, or you did, that my island is small? Where did that come from?
Because I don't like people. No, I'm joking.
I was like, that's not the answer I expected.
No.
I know part of that you say, but seriously, you know.
Because my personality, I don't like static and I I'm trying to find. I don't like discord. I don't like stuff in argumentative people. So there's clear values that I stand upon, and I choose not. I keep my island small because I know I can't change people.
Yeah.
I found that a long time ago. So I'm like, because I can't change people, I'm just gonna hang over here by myself because I ain't got time to deal with all this stuff. But again, it prohibits from other extended relationships because people meet people, they introduce you to people, they all that kind of stuff. It kind of hinders those things,
But I also remember a time where you had talked about certain communities that you were invited to, but you didn't feel you belonged.
Oh yeah. Those
you remember that? Can you talk a little bit? Because for those folks that are out there like, well, I just don't fit in with everybody. Right. Now, granted, I'm not talking about. We're not speaking again. We're not speaking concerning situations where obviously you have more than value.
They reject you from the stripper club,
right? Like there's some places you need not go. But I'm talking about, in all honesty, when it's just a safe space that you are maybe forfeiting because of something that maybe you've experienced in the past, and it's a fear of walking back into.
You just don't feel like you add up. And I think it's a place of insecurity, and I'm just being vulnerable to say. I mean, I'm not there now, but at the time, I was a young minister, and I was in the room with all these guys that they were flying here, they were going all these places, and the buzz in the room was, "Oh yeah, man, I'm doing a youth revival over here," and this one like, "Yeah, I just came back from here," and it was like all this stuff. So I'm sitting there like dressed up, and I'm like, okay. And I was just sharing this with somebody else. We do this thing when we feel we don't belong in that community. We do this thing where we disqualify our own self.
Right.
So we'll say, well, I don't go nowhere, but I'm cool. I don't really like to fly anyway. Right. So you dumb down.
We play it down.
You play it down, and you don't really live in that moment because the truth of it is you're not comfortable with that community.
There you go.
Because you feel like you don't have anything to offer or add. And that's why I felt
like I don't measure up. I'm not enough. I don't fit in with what they do.
I didn't have anything to add to the conversation.
Correct.
Yeah. So
and in fact, that could be the blessed thing that you could be that you could bring to that group. It really is. And so
or just have to celebrate what they're doing.
Yeah.
It could have been man, that's awesome. I hope to do that one day.
When you're not as secured and confident in who you are. People that are really confident in who they are aren't moved by that. They'll step in a room, into a community, and be like, "Hey, this is just me." You know.
But like back to our topic, find the power of community in your journey. Even as hard as that is necessary because power came from that because you know what to tweak and work on.
Yeah. Okay.
Because after that, I came back and did the work.
Okay.
I did the work, so I'm like, okay, and I had to, build myself up that if I were in that spot again, what I'm doing is awesome. I did a whole youth conference.
What you bring is
what you bring to the table. Like, and here's a phrase that y'all is coined now. People say that you belong at the table. You belong at the table. So in some communities, that's what it is. So what? It's a gated community with $1 million houses and all that kind of stuff. If you are afforded the opportunity to be there, then act like you belong there.
Right. Right.
And that's what we do, and it helps you in those pivotal points in your life of development. That's what it is. It's a great opportunity for development, but I don't think people see that. We shrink.
Yeah.
We shrink instead of grabbing that opportunity and finding that power and strength in that community.
Right.
What I was going to ask you, I know you spoke about what you don't like, the communities you don't like, but I was like, give an example of a time where a community really was there for you in that journey and offer that power and strength that you need, that you without a shadow of a doubt. And we doing the tear stuff. We ain't doing no crying stuff. So
no, I have to think. Wow. Well, I mean, I think what comes to mind, I'm just going to go with this one because I have a couple examples, but I will say, our new gen family, to be 100% honest. I'm not trying to sound cliche. I know probably some of you all are watching, but I am saying our current new gen family has, through a lot of what we had experienced, even in just this year, they have demonstrated so much love. And I say them, it's all the women, primarily with the women's, but even the men, women, the church, right? I will say I believed that they loved us. But when I most felt it, and without a shadow of a doubt, I knew that I was loved and embraced into this community, was the passing of Dad.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, of course, all my sister friends showed up, and so many. I mean, even just, you know, godparents, you know, everybody was there. But just the way New Gen served, you know, our family, our close friends, and everybody that was there for us. I mean, they showed up so big, so strong throughout. I mean, food came to our house every day.
Yeah.
For so many days, even after the funeral, and continued. They made sure we did not have to go out grocery shopping, that we didn't want for anything, that our boys didn't need anything. I mean, everybody, even, you know, Orlando and them, everybody. And so
the tribe.
And so that was huge. And so that was a time that I did.
Yeah.
Honestly, I felt this is an amazing community to be a part of.
Yeah.
And so thank you, New Gen. Love y'all. We know we've told y'all that 100 times, but I can never thank you enough. And so, yeah.
And that's powerful, because and this is what, like you said, it don't have to be a lot. It could be 2 or 3 that support in that manner, but it strengthens the bond. It brings you closer together, because that was an intimate time. That was a very intimate time. And you just can't. This is why, in the flip-flop side of that, is why I tell people, when you're going through something, we want to know.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. If we're part of your community, how dare you not let us, you know? And I know, and then people say, well, you know, I'm not that type of person. Well, if you're going to play in a community, you're going to have to lay some of that stuff aside. And that's just it. I was like that. I didn't like to tell people, but, you know, hey, just want to let you know that this XYZ is what's happening, you know?
Well, you bring up, I love, so this point you're bringing up now and talking through, because it was tough, because it feels uncomfortable to feel like you got to lean on people in a vulnerable time. You know what I mean? I know it sounds crazy, like who wouldn't want it, but you don't. I'll say, for me, one of my hangups, and this has been life, and I'm doing better with it. I feel like I'm burdening people whenever, you know, you got to start asking and saying, hey, can you help us out? Can you, I need someone to be there to help serve the family. You know, if I had to do that, it just feels like, you know, because, you know, everybody has a lot going on. You start making all excuses where everybody got things going on. People don't like to be bothered and all these things. And then, you know, just letting them into that intimate space. Then, and to be 100% honest, you start thinking, which he and I always, we're the same in this, like, you don't let everybody come to your house and all these things, right? But I had to be 100% open and vulnerable in that moment, because I had no more strength and energy to do any of that in that process of grieving. That was a very tough time this year already. And so, again, just knowing that I had to be okay to say, let this community that says they care about you show up and serve and be there and be what we need this community to be. And so, you gotta lay aside all that other stuff and junk, because if not, you'll find yourself alone. And nobody wants to end this world and leave this world by themselves, alone.
And that's the sad, unfortunate part, is many people do, because they reject, or they won't develop good people skills. And I'm just keeping it, as kids say, 100, no cap. they won't develop good people skills in, because some of us, like, I had horrible people skills, and I'm still working through it. But that's the first step to embracing the community, is realizing, hey, I don't make friends well. And some people, they won't admit to that, and they're like, and y'all, this is what we're saying tonight, and we're just anything we do is, like we said, our whole slogan is all things pertaining to life and godliness. We want to bring clarity to it. We want to create clear air for us to understand, not in every case, but in some cases, if everybody's saying the same thing about you, you might need to check that out.
Yeah.
Because that could be the thing that's prohibiting you from having strong community.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I remember before I found my voice, and that sounds so cliche, but everybody used to say I was, oh, you know, Dre quiet. So what they would do, that thing that I was really shutting down because I didn't want to face like insecurities and what people would say, it became a mechanism of pulling me away from strong community. And it's the same thing with people that are, this gonna hit somebody real hard, but I'm gonna say it, I just thought about this. In building community, in playing in community, you have to be honest with who you are once you find out descriptively who you are. What do I mean? What am I saying? Stop being so darn strong and then get mad when people don't show up for you. Well, you're so darn strong. You're so darn strong. Yeah. We don't know how to.
I don't need anybody.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm good.
I'm good. I just don't like people in my circle too close. I don't like hugs. I don't like, and it's like, really, so when you come to a place, because remember, you're also speaking this into existence.
Exactly.
So now when nobody's paying you attention and nobody's, sending, acknowledging anything that you're experiencing, going through, you can't tell me that is not of a concern or a bother.
Right.
God did not put you here to be to silo yourself,
right? Yeah.
And live on an island and create animals and characters out of things because you just need somebody to talk
to. You got to
create Wilsons in your life when He put us all here to be able to serve one another and be a blessing to one another and fellowship with one another. And so, I mean, we can definitely get into a lot of scripture references around some of that. Most of y'all know the Bible, so you know this. But seriously, start asking yourself, well, why am I like that? Why am I like that? Why am I saying that? It's not true. If that's when people say things like, "Oh no, I don't need a thank you. I just do." Oh yes, you do. We all want rewards and recognition.
Lies, gossip, and
I understand. Rumors. Yes, He's the reward of those that diligently seek Him. And if you look for it, how does that scripture go? I went blank when it's basically if you seek your reward and man, that's what you got. I get that, but at the end of the day, that's just having clear manners, and people want to know that they're valued and appreciated. And so the same thing is with this.
Getting clear on how you want to be served,
getting clear on the thought that, hey, I don't mind people. I just it may be selective. I understand it. No one's asking you to go and just bear all to any and all persons. There is a level of trust that has to be built. You got to develop the relationship and do all of those things. But what we're saying is you don't have to do life alone.
Right,
when you talk about getting clear, we just talked about dealing with the unexpected and having joy there. This is all of this ties in is you don't have to do this alone. And so find those 1 to 2, 3 trusted people, whatever you want to call them, your tribe, your circle of influence, I don't know, there's a bunch of words out there now that people say, friends and all these things. And it's interesting to me because we'll sit there and we'll I call it stalk social media. And sit there and dream and just envy groups of people and just wish that could be us. We won't say it to anybody, but it happens. Especially coming up into this time of year, everybody's starting to prepare for Friendsgiving and all these women's circles and guy groups doing this and all of these things. And you just sitting there like, I wish, even as a family. Like, man, I wish I had that. Well, you can. You can. Now, we understand. Yeah. And we understand that there's some unique situations where there's some strained relationships or maybe there's been some broken trust. And, that's something different. But there are people, I guarantee you, for anybody that you feel is out of your life on whatever happened and you got to work through that. God has blessed you with other people that are there. It's just sometimes it's not the people we're looking for. Some of us have the best opportunity to have some wonderful relationships with some of our neighbors in our communities, people at our church, people in different organizations that we're part of, even on our jobs. But we become so sheltered and so guarded because of our past hurt and trauma that we don't even let people in.
No.
To even start trying to create a level of community.
A process of learning them.
And so you got to work through that, y'all. You don't have to life alone.
Yeah, and we've been there. That's why because we worked on the work.
Yeah.
And you know, another thing I was thinking about, and this just gets me with people.
And somebody's probably like, go get a hair tie. I know I don't want to interrupt, but I will next time. So just let me pull my hair back 100 times.
Well, that was random.
I was just thinking that because I would think that about me. Okay. That's just it.
Like,
but anyway,
girl doing a hair?
I know, like, girl, because it's it's these braids, and they're like, come on.
Well, I would give you my hat, but.
Let me see.
It's
your hair's messed up. I'm gonna wear a hat next
stuff
time.
Going on up under here.
I need some hat stuff. But anyway, I'm sorry. Go back.
Maybe wear a church hat.
You know what? I'm gonna sit up here like Miss Benita.
Wear a church hat. Yeah. But
just random, I'm a fascinator.
Yeah, just wear a fascinator. No, but you know what? Funny folk will be wondering why.
Why I'm sitting here?
You sit there with
a headband.
And they're like, why she got a fascinator on? So watch this. What I was going to say, one of the things we're talking about, creating or understanding the power in that community through our journey is keeping ourselves open and vulnerable, but with caution.
Okay.
And it goes back to what you said. Now, we're not saying just, engage in all. No, you're cautious. But what we're saying is allow yourself the opportunity to develop.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying. Allow yourself the opportunity to develop. You can't check stuff. Oh, no, because they, eat juicy fruit chewing gum. No, I can't. You got to be deal with a realistic outlook on it. And one of the things I was thinking about, and I was thinking about this today, just in my head, because my head had those random thoughts, but I was like, it's funny to me. I bump into people and they're like, oh no, I don't get involved with everybody. I don't do everybody like that. My circle's small, and because the Lord, I have discernment and all this kind of stuff. And I sit there looking like, and if my head was, would bubble up and they was, how them bubbles come on people's head, I was like, well, I want to challenge that, because if you were that discernful, wouldn't you know if it was a bad company for you?
Come on.
No, for real. If you're that discernful, you would automatically know. But what happened? We're not giving people a chance, and it's funny because I do this, and I ask people, "That ain't normal. That's not normal. Yeah. It's an effect or as a result of a trauma that you went through." And y'all, I'm telling you, I'm not the fix-all person, but when you get to talking to people, even myself, you'll find out it came from some mistrust, broken relationship, and now you've templated your whole life on that one experience. And there are people that are not going to treat you the same way, or even in that broken relationship. If you go back and fix it, your community is strengthened, because there's nothing like when you work through a disagreement in your community, it makes you stronger.
Yeah,
it really does make you stronger, and it allows the other person to understand you.
Yeah,
as well as understand themselves. And that happens a lot of time in us in marriage.
Yeah,
we have to learn each other. God forbid we got married the first couple of, you know what? This community ain't working.
Yeah,
this community is ghetto as heck, and I don't want to be a part of it. No, but we worked through it. Yeah. We talked about it, and that's what it's about. It's not just, when you think about just a illustration of the community. Hey, your tree hanging over in my yard, the reasonable thing to do is to agree to cut it down, because and I use that as illustration because I hear people getting in big fights and stuff about the tree hanging on this side or the gate on this side and all that kind of stuff. But God wants us to live. Excuse me, y'all. I'm burping. I'm drinking this. These are good, by the way.
Just gonna burp on the show.
Yeah. Okay. It's real. It's real time, so I can't hold it back. I can't edit that out. It's real time.
So what you're saying in all of this that we're talking through is people need people. We need each other.
People need people. I don't care who you are. You say that, you don't. We do.
I think when CC them do that thing or on TV, what is it? The We're Better Together. Their little talk show. You haven't seen that with
CC one?
What's a few of them? It's different ladies.
I think Generations.
Right.
Oh,
it's the other lady.
All the ladies.
When all the ladies.
The lady from
We're
TV
Better Together.
Yeah.
Yes. And so people need people. And so it was a lesson I had to learn, because there were certain spaces from hurt that I felt like I just didn't need to be a part of groups or communities or just with ladies and all those things. But then realize, especially when it comes to like pieces of me and the different events and things that I do, you need people.
Right.
You need people to work with you. And I had someone ask me, like, man, how do you get, the ladies that work with you and all these things? I said, well, because I've developed these relationships and I've allowed myself to, I've opened up myself to welcome the help and the support.
Yeah.
And I had to trust it. And through it, I'm prayerful and discernful. And if some things just don't work, we deal through it. Because the other piece is, we have to remember, in working together or in communities, there are going to be some troublesome times. There's going to be conflict.
Right.
But then that's a different topic we'll be touching on later, is how to deal through conflict. Because offenses are going to come. Because we're different people with different background, with different belief systems and all that. So we shy away from those things and think it's bad, but that's part of how do we live harmoniously with each other, because we learn to understand each other, respect it. Even if you don't agree with it, there's certain things you have to respect and be, caring towards others and deal in love and grace. You know what I mean? So some of that's the challenge. A lot of times we don't want that challenge of having to work through nothing. So it's easier to do the avoidance or the escape thing, or just to bail out. And then we find ourselves or detach. And then we keep detaching. And then we're just by ourselves. And then we're trying to do something that God has called us to do. And he did whatever you've been called to do on this earth will take some other human being to help and support you in it. You can't tell me that you're going to be able to do all of that alone.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so funny, because I was thinking about this and it was just it's just powerful. This quote just came to me. When we, the individual, define our value system, then we have the ability to disperse our vulnerability.
Yeah, that's good.
And because now it's control, because I know giving a person, like if you're somebody I just met, I'm going to give you an opportunity to engage in community with you, but that means I have to understand my value system. Okay.
Right.
If you're disloyal, then we can only go so far. You know what I'm saying?
It's almost like boundaries.
Boundaries, yeah. So you understand that, but I control that.
Right.
So now, whereas before, maybe you were just befriend, really wasn't cautious, or really weren't, I don't want to say cautious, you really weren't as observant of that particular quality of a person. So you engage in there, and the mistrust was always there from the beginning.
That came in with
it, right? Yeah. It was already there. So now, because you learned from that, now you're looking and you're like, okay, I remember what happened last time. I'm not going to stifle, but I'm going to be cautious.
So now you're more aware.
You're
more aware.
There's no awareness.
You're self-aware about yourself, and you're more aware with how to navigate and deal with people. And that's when we get asked oftentimes, why do people follow us? And it's not an arrogant statement. It's just people know that they know the reputation and what comes with us. And part of that is like, we have a way that we work with people. When you understand who is laboring among you and who's working around you, who's in your community, when you know how they operate, and some of the sensitivity, some people that are very sensitive, some like to be praised on a certain level. Everybody has their means of what's important to them, like you said, their values. Then you know how to work with the person, and you know what's important. I'm a big, huge, like, tell me thank you. Like, I want to know that what I've done meant something, in the sense of, and you don't have to do anything grand other than just tell me thank you and acknowledge it.
But let me insert somebody. I want to stop the flow of your thought. You're okay with telling me that.
Correct.
So now within our community, I know, oh, okay. And I'm not, because this is so good, because sometimes we don't like to be forthcoming with our values because we think people are going to look at us a certain way.
Yeah, because to say that sounds real cheesy. Oh my gosh, girl, that's simple. That who got time to keep telling you thank you? Well, it's how I grew up.
Right.
It's manners, and that's important to me. You. And if you want me at my best in the community, then you can acknowledge that. No different than you talk about, you want people to be straight up and honest with you. And if I expect us to work harmoniously, then all right, then I have to make sure.
Got to consider that.
You know, you're like, don't beat around the bush with me. Just be straight up honest.
Right.
Like, just go straight, you know? And so that's how he and I learned to communicate. And that's what helps. So when you know how people expect or what is important to them, and that we talk about their values, then that's what makes it easier to work with people. And you don't have to feel like you don't belong and all these things. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And then forfeit the relationships or just back away. It's just working.
Strifeful
and you're right. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of, you said it, vulnerability to be able to tell people, you know, what you need in this community. Like, hey, and there's some people know they need a lot of attention.
Right.
That's not a bad thing. You just got to call out. Now, if it's not for me, this means we're not, I
can't participate in that.
We're not made for each other we're not made to be in this community together. Excuse me. I'm trying
at this level. No, I'm
excited, but right.
You know,
and it's okay. I think you got to be okay, because it may not be harmonious with everyone. Now, you do your best. Now, that's the other thing. We don't want to make this a false sense of like, oh, you just going to be, you know, get along with everybody and it's just going to work. It's a work in progress. All I'm saying is you need somebody, though, that can understand. You know, you ever see people that say, man, I like her because she gets me, or my friend, this is my me and him connect because he gets me. And what does that really mean? It's because they understand the way you're wired, and it's okay.
I was thinking about, and it's one of the phrases that I really dislike when people say, they'll say, oh, this has clicks and this has clicks. And that's such an unfair statement, because the fact of the matter is, when you really dismantle clicks, it's just you're drawn to people that you have things in common.
That's what it is.
But we make it a negative, because usually the people that say clicks and all that kind of stuff, what they're actually saying is, I'm upset because I wish I could be in that community, within the community. And it's okay. You're going to have that. Even within the strongest community, you're going to have some people that like tomatoes over here. Some people going to like bananas, but we're still in the same communities. Val and I don't like the same thing. But we learn now, and I guess that's what we're saying. Our whole topic tonight is finding power in community through your journey. And I was reminded of a time, and we're almost at our time too. Gosh, just gets away from me. But I was reminded when you were going through with your dad after he had passed. And we're part of the community. I'm there to support. But sometimes my support, because I don't verbalize and I just assume, is not the way she needs to be supported. Y'all, and this is not just to married folk, this is to anybody, what I'm about to say. So she had a moment, because if anybody's dealing with grief, you know, you go through moments. You go through moments, different things. So she had a moment. So what I did, I walked out the room and closed the door. Now, before y'all go ham in the comments, that's how I felt I was supporting her. But if she didn't have the wherewithal to say, no, I don't want to be supported that way. And I know stuff sounds cheesy, corny, but it's for real. No, I would rather you come and embrace and hug me and all that kind of stuff. So now I know if she get in that moment, I respond different, which it makes a stronger community.
Yeah.
So, and that's what it's about. It's about, like you said in the beginning, relationship.
Yeah.
How I'm in a journey. We're all in a journey. They're in a journey. We're in a journey. Like Oprah said, you get a journey and you get a journey. Yeah. We're all in a journey, but how are we going to receive the power from that community to go through it? You know, our tribe.
Yeah. And I know this is a lot to take, because I know there's some thought around, you know, man, that makes, you said 2 words, being open and vulnerable. Most of us don't like that because it's very uncomfortable. And we feel we're going to be judged. You got to get over that.
Yeah.
You got to get over that. We're all human. We all have things that we desire and need, and it's okay. It's going to be different. And the thing is, there will be people that can support that, and there may be people that don't have the capacity. You just got to know, and it's okay. Don't be upset, because we set expectations, and that's the other thing, because we expect that because he's a pastor, he's supposed to know how to support me and everything. Well, not necessarily. Or because I'm a wife, I'm a husband, I'm a politician, I'm a brother, I'm a sister, I'm a Mom, you don't know people's personal journeys and stories sometimes. And so if that's something they can't necessarily support you in, that's why you have to say it. Don't assume and put expectations, and just set expectations that people ought to know. You got to state what you need sometimes in the community.
Yeah.
With your friends, with whoever that is around you. What happens and what gets frustrating is when we feel somebody ought to know, because you just ought to know, I don't know. I'm going through grief. You're supposed to just call me and send me cards and send me flowers. But what if that's not really what I'm looking for in that moment? So Val can say, hey, this is what we're looking for. This is what I need in this time. It works so much better. You're not weak because of that. In fact, you are a better communicator and you're more mature when you can do that. And you'll find more success with keeping community and not feeling that you're isolated and always have to abandon or jump ship off of friendships and relationships because somebody didn't meet a certain expectation that they probably had no idea that expectation was even set upon them.
You got to, if you're going to participate in any community, and it's so funny, my mind is going so many ways when you said that, like so many people have broken, rigid relationships because they didn't talk.
We didn't talk.
We didn't say what you want. And I was thinking, I just had this illustration because my mind works metaphorically like that. And I'm thinking about when I was a kid, we would have, people don't do much of that now because everybody kind of to themselves. But if somebody, your next door neighbor that you were close to, they would come over and say, hey, can I borrow a cup of sugar?
Yeah.
Why? Because it was already part of the community. They come and just stand there with a cup like,
you supposed to
and you're like, what do you want? You want this?
Yeah.
Do you want a soda?
No.
You want a ham or egg? What they said, what they
keep
want.
Guessing. Yeah,
right. Keep guessing because it's part of the community. And it's like, that's such a great illustration. Thank you, Holy Spirit, because that's what it's about. You got to say what the heck you want and be okay if that person does not want to participate.
Yeah.
It's okay. Stop saying that you okay and you really not. Stop saying when you really wish somebody would celebrate you and people don't, you're like, oh, it's okay. No, stop saying that stuff. It's not okay. It's not okay. I always go back to Lakeisha Dawkins and she probably tired of hearing me say this now, but she said something when the kids or something asked to apologize, I think it was, and she said she would let them know because we automatically default to, oh, it's okay. Yeah. It's not okay. It's not okay.
When it's something offensive.
Right. Something offensive is not okay. We got to get it out and strengthen the community with those things.
In that regard, it's not okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So y'all, we're at our time. I think this has been a great conversation as all of them. And, now remember again, you've got to come close in, draw in. You've got to subscribe to the channel. Right now on your cell phone, tablet, whatever if you're on your TV, you can't do it. Well, you can with your remote. Subscribe to the channel that is helping us. We're asking you as our community. You're our community. So go ahead and do that. If you find value in anything that we're saying and sharing, share it with a friend. So you got 2 call to actions. You're going to subscribe, then you're going to share it. Then you're going to also click like. That's the little thumbs up thing. You got to like. And one more, you got 4 things you got to do. Then you're going to, what did I say? You're going to share it. You're going to subscribe. You're going to like it. And then what's the other one? There's something else you're supposed to do.
I'm not social media.
Well, do all of those things. Help us out with that.
That's right.
Help us out with that. Oh, click the bell icon. Click the bell icon so you'll be notified when we drop new content, because that helps us out. This is something that we endeavor to do. Y'all, we've been talking about doing this for a long time, and I'm so glad to be sitting on the comfy couch with Valerie. I'm so glad that we started this, and it's something that we're praying. Y'all pray with us because we want to keep the momentum going and service. If you have any topics that you might want to shake out,
I know they shared some the first. We got a couple the first.
Okay. We're going to go back and check those out as we put it. We're gonna get our children, they're going to be our team, y'all. They'll be working behind the scenes. They don't know it yet, but they're our community. They're our community, so that's what's going to happen. They don't know it yet, but we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys for supporting us in the past episodes. We really appreciate that. And we hope to bring you great content just as this. So God bless you all. And you got anything you want to say on our way out before we put up our little intro and all that? Y'all like that intro? The Clarity Lounge, it gives you the loungy feel, so that's what we've been trying to do.
Why you gotta?
Yeah, because that's what you do when you talk.
Is that the lounge?
I'm using descriptives. That's why we're broadcasting from our prayer lounge, y'all. In here, and our little articles back here. We hope to beef this up too as well. But anywho, I think I think that's all we have.
What we gonna beef up? What else we got to do?
Well, we just try and striving and doing it. All right, guys.
So, yeah.
Y'all have a great evening, and remember to do those things that we ask you to do. And we'll see you again on.
Oh, so I want to give a special. Can we do shout outs? How you say shout outs or shout outs?
Yeah, but you should do the shout outs in the middle of the show. You don't do shout outs at the end of the show. Okay, go do the shout
at the middle of the show. We're hard down talking. Why would I jump into a shout out? No, because this is a good one. When I think of like communities and like circles, I believe. Let me say this right. Some of Mother Neal, her General Hospital circle community, been supporting us. So Miss Carol,
shout out to Carol Price.
Yes,
and
Miss Sandra, I think.
Sandra, I don't want to
remember her last name, and then all the rest that are connected to
Mother Neal.
Oh well, she's yes. I said her first.
Yeah,
we know she's on. She's probably commenting and supporting us through that. But yeah, the General Hospital. God bless you all. We'll continue to keep those prayer requests in prayer for sure. But thank you. It's so sweet. They've been sending a lot of encouragement to us. So just grateful for that circle community. And they met through, I think, just like a platform. They don't live Facebook, here in Florida.
They're everywhere.
And there's some sisters.
Great community.
That built a really wonderful community, and it's been going strong. So it's pretty amazing. And that's what it's about, you all.
Okay.
Right?
That's it. All right, guys.
Why do you want to sing? You act like you want me to ask you to sing a song.
I'm not singing nothing because
Tell a joke.
No, with them questions you throw me off at the end of the show. So
wait, tell a joke. Tell one joke.
I don't have no jokes.
You gotta make them laugh at
y'all. Have a great evening. I don't have a joke tonight. We appreciate you guys.
Borrow your hat?
And have a great evening. And look for us same time. Remember, every Monday at 7:00 we'll be dropping content. You can find us on digital platform as well. We do have a podcast. If you have Spotify, Apple Pod, all of them, they'll be at the end. When you see the end of the outro, it'll have them on there. And Facebook and YouTube. God bless y'all. Y'all have a great evening, and we'll see you on next week at the Clarity Lounge.
Take care, everybody.
Take care.
Have a blessed week.